Morning, good evening. Hello, everybody. It's so lovely to see you all. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful day, and it's only the morning, so that's very exciting. It is our last call for this live round already. I know, I'm going quick. Tell me in the chat box, what are you doing over the Christmas break? What exciting things have you got planned? We're going to do a little road trip for Canberra to visit my sisters-in-law. It's like a belated Christmas visit. So that's what we're going to be doing. Should be fun. And I said to Martin, we're going to camp all the way there this time, because last year we chickened out. It was like, oh, it might rain. Maybe we'll just check into a hotel. But it's so much more fun camping. So let me know what you guys have planned. Hopefully some downtime. Hopefully some deep reflection time. As little as possible. Yeah, that's what I always tell people, Tamsin, when they ask me, what are you doing on the weekend? I go, as little as possible. I go, try not to have plans. Gisella's got the kids, scored free crayfish. Yes. Hashtag evidence. Thank you very much. And lots of rest and maybe some fun playtime in the studio. Awesome. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm nosy. I want to know what you guys are all doing because I'll miss you. I'll miss you. Just quickly before we get into it, yesterday I ran the Blow Up the Hamster Wheel masterclass. If you haven't watched the recording yet, jump on it. It was really good. It's only going to be up there till Sunday morning, so make sure you grab it. I'll drop the direct link to the recording in the Magnetic Money Club Facebook group, just in case you haven't seen the email. I did send out an email with the recording link yesterday. Sharon is setting herself up for a year of excellence. I love that. When you told me that yesterday, like 2025 is going to be the year of excellence, I went, stealing that. Yes, it was really good masterclass, wasn't it? I spent so much time like really mindfully putting it together. And I have to say, it's my best work ever. It is the year of excellence coming up. So watch that if you haven't yet, because other than it being full of some really good food for thought and a few little tips that you can instantly apply in your business, I also give you the outline of what the Freedom and Ease Business Academy is going to look like next year. So that's a really good one. I do have a fancy new beautiful sales page for it as well. So you can kind of check all of that out because, magnetic money isn't going anywhere, but I'm basically bringing in all the stuff that I used to do separately on more a VIP level, and it's just all going to be in one container. So just really quickly, I sent out an email. I'm going to send out reminders. If you've already registered for the Aligned Business Accelerator, you're automatically in the academy right through to the end of next year. So if you got an email saying, here's your upgrade link, but you're like, but I registered for the accelerator, just reply, because a couple of people they've used different email addresses and stuff like that. So if you've already signed up for the accelerator at some stage, that's an automatic upgrade anyway. But there is an upgrade offer now, which is, again, until Sunday morning. It's hugely discounted. So the academy is on offer at 30% off to anyone, but then you guys as current club members get an extra 60% off that because it's an upgrade for you. You're already in Magnetic Money, and I want you with me. I want you with me. So that came out as well. So basically what's going to happen, just super quickly, because I want to get into what we're talking about today, at the end, basically when January hits, we should be ready with the new learning portal. We're going to move into a new learning portal, much cleaner, easier, and you'll get an email saying, hey, here's your new login details for the new learning portal. That's when I'll drop in those new bonuses that I'm creating. There's no point uploading them to an old site and then uploading them to a new site. It's only like a week or so away and everyone's busy anyway. So that'll be there. And that's also when we're going to switch Facebook groups. So we're going to say goodbye to the Magnetic Money Club as is and start a whole fresh, clean slate for the Freedom and Ease Business Academy. So that'll happen as soon as January rolls in. And then we get started with the new content. We're going to actually go through it live together as the Aligned Business Accelerator. First call is at the end of January. So if you've got more questions about that, ask me at the end of the call, ask me in the Facebook group, and we'll sort you out. Oh, I do want to say one quick thing, because somebody said something about, time commitment. First of all, that's why I added in some new bonuses. One, to help you recoup the investment. The second one, to help you free up the time. Like, that's why those bonuses are so exciting. But also in terms of the format of calls, like, it's not more stuff. It's just that we have been just going through Magnetic Money basically twice a year. So instead, we're going to just go through it once together live. The curriculum, the content will all be sitting there, but we'll spend the rest of the time going through making sure you've got an aligned business blueprint, that everything you're doing in your business actually makes sense and works for you, and then working on freeing up your time. So we're not going to spend more time. We're just going to spend it more wisely. Okay. So I did want to say that was important. Okay. Today, I'm going to talk about negative people, those annoying, pesky, negative people, how to make them just disappear, and how to actually turn them into an asset and use that to accelerate your journey. Before we fully get into it, big thank you, a huge shout out to the amazing people who've been stepping up to lead you through accountability groups and chats, who've been kind of, setting the tone and showing up pretty much every single call, willing to lead, happy to take on that role. And they are Sharon Stanford, Anna Mason, the amazing Gisela Pinero, Claire Kerslake, Jackie Lawson, Jennifer Lang, and Karen Conlon. So join me in a round of applause and lots of love. I love you all. Love and appreciation, because you truly are awesome in every sense of the word. Speaking of awesome in every sense of the word, Sharon Stanford, you haven't actually had a chance yet to explain a little bit more about the offer that you put into the Magnetic Money Club for people. So let's take a moment to do that, and then we'll talk about people that annoy us, which Sharon definitely is not one of. That's probably not the best intro, is it? Let me try that again. No,
it's all right. It's all right. Gosh, it seems like ages ago that I put this offer in. And if you saw my post in the manifesting group, you would have seen that I had a big shift yesterday where I realized that my pricing was done with people pleasing. And this is the level that I work at. I work right down and find out what the actual nuts and bolts is going on. And so next year there are price rises. So I would jump in now, and this is not a buy now Black Friday sale. It's just the truth. So what I deal with is what could be called the shadow side, or what's deep inside. And one of the big things is fear, and that holds a lot of people back in business. And it's fear, and the fear can be really, really, it can hide down in lots of different places that you think that you've dealt with for 50,000 years, but there's other things underneath it. So we need to conquer our fears. And the way we do that is that we go in and we just bust them. And when you shine light on a dark place, it's not dark anymore. And that's exactly what conquering fear is about. Finding that part, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes you don't even have to know what the part is. You just have to know what the symptoms are. And then using kinesiology, we go straight in and we just shine light on the fear. And then we start to find a really, thank you, Giselle, a really, really practical way of dealing with what's going on. So it's not just showing a fear, it's going through and finding out what's going on, and then finding a practical way out. Now, I hold a very gentle space for this. I can be very strict, though, as someone with a couple of you say, but I will hold that gentle space for you. And in this call, you get an hour's call with me, and then I do a follow-up a week later just to see how you're going. And I always do that because I always want to see how you're going. At the moment, Australian dollars, $100 a session with me. This will be the last time you will ever get a $100 session with me, ever. And you've heard me say that, dip, dip, dop, dop, on Magnetic Money. So that will be it. So I'll put the link in later, but if you go into the magnetic money, you'll find it in our booking thing. And yeah, my sessions will be going up. I will hold this for you till the end of, I will hold this to you till the end of January. Okay, so you can deal with the fear of starting the hamster wheel. But if there's something that's going on, it doesn't just have to be fear, but if there's something going on, there's $100 sessions are just for the end till the end of January. And after that, I will not be working for $100 anymore. So come on in, see it. If you want to have a chat with me, just DM me. I'm quite happy to send you a link to have a chat on what happens with me. And yeah, if I could just ask, Giselle, would you mind just saying what it's like working with me very quickly?
Sure thing. Yeah, we've discovered lots of little nooks and crannies where there was something that we worked on, and then it was like, oh, hang on, there's actually a totally different thing that your brain had decided it wanted to hide from you. So it's like we got to a lot of really deep stuff that conscious mind just wants to play around it and doesn't want to go looking. So it's been awesome.
Thank you for that. And thank you for letting me put you on the spot like that. Okay, back to you, Miriam.
Thanks, Sharon. Awesome. Yeah, I always hear, oh, I had a session with Sharon. It was amazing. And, sometimes when I have one-on-one sessions with me, they'll go, yes, we did that together, like with me. And then I went and did that with Sharon. And now I'm in a whole different place. So it works so beautifully, like people who are willing to go to these places. Sharon's masterful. So, and I can't believe the rate. I'm going to just leave that alone. I expect at least double next year. Thank you very much. All right. So perfect topic, right? Because what we're talking about today is shadow. What the hell is shadow? Well, let's put it this way. The world is your mirror, right? We love talking about that. And when somebody says, oh, you're so amazing, you're so beautiful, whatever, that's your mirror, right? That's your mirror. You attract people who are like you. But when we attract people who are like us in ways that we're not happy about or we don't want to acknowledge, then we call it the shadow, right? So the world is your mirror and the world is also your shadow. Everything's being reflected back to you. And the shadow is really the stuff that we reject. So when we're talking about, people that drag us down, people that annoy us, there's always that element of shadow in there. And that's why it's such an amazing opportunity to go more deeply into that and explore so that you can accelerate your journey, so that you can use that opportunity to see things that, you haven't been willing to see or able to see because maybe you didn't have, someone like Sharon sitting and helping you like shine that light. And so when these things come up, as you continue this journey, it's actually cause for celebration. It's like, this person's really pissing me off or they've really upset me. That's actually a signal that you've just found a really awesome opportunity for your own personal growth, if you choose to see it as that. Or you can choose to see it as it's all them, it's their fault, they're completely unreasonable, and there's nothing in this for me other than pain and suffering. And you can kind of stay stuck in that dynamic. It's your choice, right? You have free will every single step of the way. So my plan for today is that I give you like 5-10 minutes to actually go through the shadow work worksheet, which is in bonus module 2, and that's the one we're doing today. So I've dropped it in the chat box for those of you who are here live. Those of you who are watching the replay, it's in bonus module 2. So that's a really helpful little process, and I've given you a worksheet for it to lead you through it. But it's a process that once you've done it 2-3 times, you can just quickly do it yourself anytime. Like you don't need the worksheet once you have become a little bit familiar with the process. So if we take this approach of the world is your shadow and everything's just a reflection of what's going inside of you, it means that you're back in a position of power, right? And the only person you have to heal or work on is yourself. And when you work on yourself, you heal the world by extension, because we are all one. So I'd love you to take a moment to reflect, and please pop in the chat box who challenges you in your life. Like, you don't have to name them necessarily, but you can say a certain family member, like who is the person in your world that is always challenging you, like that you find challenging to deal with? Maybe because they upset you regularly or they trigger something. Who's the person that you're like, oh, it's always them? Take a moment to just connect with, and just let's focus in on just one thing. Yep, Dad is a miserable, negative person. Good one. Nice one. I'm going to just zip my mouth. At the moment, ex-husband, yep. Been there. Partner, yep. And isn't it interesting that it's often the people who are really close to us, like it's a parent, it's a partner, it's a sibling, it's a boss. Carol, it's sister, Tamsin's a boss. Doesn't happen often. Yeah, absolutely. And Claire's just been through a whole beautiful growth journey thanks to her husband, reflecting back some shadow stuff. You know, we had a conversation with Claire on a focus session last week, and I was like, what if that's just all you projecting stuff onto him? What if he's in a totally like, you haven't even asked him what he means by that. And you don't even know, like you're just projecting, you're assuming. So it's interesting. Yeah. So hasn't he been wonderful? So if we think about that, you know, what we reject, and this is like literally what Carl Jung said about the shadow, we reject that which we don't approve of in ourselves, I'm paraphrasing, and we project it onto others. So the things about ourselves that we're not happy to accept, that we judge, that we haven't forgiven ourselves for, that we don't like, we don't want to acknowledge, we love to project that onto others and go, look at them. They're so negative. They're so lazy. They're so whatever, right? But we all have all of those character traits as well, to some degree or another. We may not like it. We may not like to acknowledge it, either out loud or even to ourselves, but we all have a little bit of everything in us because we're human. Your indecisive and negative belief thinking side yourself is annoying you lately. Okay, well, that was what we focused on last week, Laura. So right now, I want you to try and think of an opportunity to use something that's on the outside of you, that you perceive to be on the outside of you, because that's the next layer, right? Yes, can be my niche, but doing my part this time. Awesome. Cool. So the thing is, you know, we project it and we judge it. We judge it. We go, oh, that person is so, insert, you know, negative terminology here. But the thing is that if we take this approach of all is one, we're all connected, and we're just projecting that thing that we're rejecting onto this other person. And yes, they have those character traits too. But what I'm saying is they bother us more when we haven't forgiven ourselves for something similar. That's when they bother us the most. Doesn't mean they're not, insert whatever label, but so are we. And the more it bothers us, the more it's a sign that it's something that, you know, you would do really well to sit with and forgive yourself for. And when you forgive yourself, that's when the healing occurs. And that's when those other people suddenly stop being so annoying, because it's no longer triggering the wound inside of you. You know, the analogy I always use is if I have a big open sore wound on my arm, or if you do, let's say you do, you've got this big open oozing sore, slightly infected wound. It's totally open, no dressing on it, nothing. And I come along and I poke you in it. You're going to go, what the hell? Like, what are you doing, you horrible person? Bitch, piss off. You know, don't you realize how much you just hurt me? But all I did is poke you in the arm. I might not even have known you've got a wound there. Because if I poke you in the other arm and I just go, you just go, oh, hello, what's going on? So totally different reaction. The only difference is whether or not you've got a wound. Tell me on a level, because sometimes this is like, oh shit, I've got to face some stuff. This can be uncomfortable. Tell me on a level of 1 to 10 in the chat, how's this landing for you right now? You're like, piss off, Miriam. I don't want to hear this. I am completely wonderful and I've worked very hard on myself. And that person I'm thinking of, they're just a dickhead, right? So 10 in the rejection or the discomfort. Or are you like, oh no, I really need to hear this, you know, and I'm okay with it? Because usually it should be uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable. If it wasn't uncomfortable, you wouldn't be rejecting it. You wouldn't have a wound. A wound is uncomfortable. And being shown that you have a wound and it needs attention and it needs healing, you know, that's a big shift. That's a big shift from just outsourcing the blame to somebody else. And, you know, when we do that, we step into that place of self-righteousness. Yes, I know. Big stuff. This is how we're finishing the year. You thought it was going to be all puppies and rainbows. I also want to just, while I remember, I talk about it in the module. There's a short film. There must be like a feature film somewhere, but there's just a short film called The Shadow by Debbie Ford. You can find it on YouTube for free. I think it's like 20 minutes, maybe half hour max. And it's a really good thing to watch. And yeah, I have a feeling there must be like a feature film or a documentary like hiding somewhere, not like a movie, but a documentary hiding somewhere behind it. Or maybe that's all that there is, but it's bloody brilliant. So yes, so relevant right now, says Anna. Gisela goes 8 on the discomfort level. Just realised a big thing. For Jen, the frustration is the window into the wound. And also we can exercise neutrality in our approach, which makes the wound easier to deal with. Yes, forgiveness, you know, just coming from a place of, okay, yeah, this is an opportunity for growth. I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. And I need to stop putting the pressure on myself that I should be, and that I'm not allowed to sometimes be a bitch or be negative or be judgmental or be whatever. You know, even forgiving yourself for having projected that onto others can be a thing. The Dark Side of the Light Chasers. Oh, good one. Thank you. And that's also by Debbie Ford. So the movie, I believe, is called The Shadow. And I've linked it like in module 12. I think I've actually got the link to the YouTube video from memory. So tell me a little bit more about this person that you decided, you know, is a good example of this. What do they trigger in you? Like what's your reaction when that behavior or that interaction happens? Like what is it you judge them for? If you just could sum it up in one word, what is it you're judging them for? So, for example, Gisela said, Dad, negativity, right? Just check in. Is that kind of the basis of it, the foundation of it? Is there something deeper? But if you've already nailed it, awesome. Negativity. What else? What are some other things that those people are being judged for? Not taking responsibility. Yeah. Ability to attract drama. Yeah, I have people I judge for that. See how that's a different phrase to saying, yeah, I know people who attract a whole lot of drama constantly. It's like, yeah, I have people I judge for that. Different. Neglect, not listening or hearing. Yeah, drama queen, overbearing and controlling. Cool. Yeah, interesting, right? And do you find that even just typing that out, it's like, oh, shit, given the context in which we're discussing this is a little bit uncomfortable and embarrassing. Because, you know, maybe, just maybe at some stage, just for a minute or two, I was like that. Maybe I occasionally slip into that behavior. So in the module, we talk a lot about the Ho'oponopono. And I'll get into that later, but let's take a moment. I think this is a good spot to press pause. And I'd like you to just go through the worksheet, given everything we've just talked about and the things that you've kind of brought up. Let's spend 5-10 minutes. What I might get you to do is, so you've got the worksheet in the chat box. You should be able to download it from there. I'll pause the recording. If I forget to restart it, somebody please just tell me. I'll give you at least 5 minutes. What I'd like you to do once you're finished, if you could just use the Zoom reactions to raise your hand, and that way I know that I'm done, and then I can kind of judge, like if everybody's done and it's just one person still going, we'll move on. So 5, maximum 10 minutes is the plan. Okie dokie. Looks like most people are pretty much finished. How do I put all hands down? Some of my controls have changed a little bit, which is annoying, but we're going to have to do them individually. Good news is, while you guys were busy doing that, I figured out how to turn the emoji reactions back on in my Zoom. I don't think it'll automatically update them for this meeting, but that's been weird. What happened there? Who changed that? Okay, so yeah, it did some resetting. Okay, so I'd like to hear from you guys in a moment. Let me just go back a little bit. So Gisela said that she had a realization that, which I think is huge, you know, that finding her dad annoying like that makes it easier for her to accept that she doesn't feel loved by him, which is huge. Right? It's easier to reject someone rather than acknowledge that you're feeling hurt or sad. I want to give you a big hug now. And yes, the film is called The Shadow Effect. Thank you, Jennifer Lang, for confirming that. Cool. So, yep, just check record. I am recording. Yes, thank you. Double checking. I usually have a few moments in the middle of a call where I go, am I recording? And I usually am, but good to check. Okay, so like I said, this is a fairly simple process, right? It's, okay, who's annoying me? What's the character trait that I'm judging and therefore rejecting? And then you just have to look within and go, okay, when have I done that? And how do I feel about that? And then also looking at, you know, every behavior has a purpose. And usually, you know, negative behavior, what we label as negative behavior, is all about protecting ourselves. You know, sometimes maybe people will be trying really hard to protect their boundaries or finally take care of themselves, and they can be quite, you know, harsh to others. But it's like, well, no, there's always a purpose to that behavior. There's always some way that that behavior serves you. And then also, you know, again, looking at it like, how can we reframe it? And actually, just like we did with our exercise last week, where we kind of zoom out and reframe it a bit, or if we zoom out a bit, how might it have served the other people? Like, what's a positive in that maybe did serve other people? Because maybe it taught them how to be better communicators or to be more considerate of other people, whatever it is. Like, there's always something to be learned and something that we can take away to facilitate more growth. So, you know, just looking at it like, okay, well, there was a reason for that behavior. It served me at the time. Maybe it wasn't the best way to serve the purpose, but I needed something because this was going on. And so it served me to choose that behavior. And then if you can find something that's actually a positive, and actually maybe it also taught that other person something valuable or gave them an opportunity to exercise a valuable skill, then there was good in that. So it's not all bad. It's not all black and white. You know, not everything's like just either good or bad. Everything is just shades of gray. And so that hopefully helps you get to that point where you go, okay, am I willing to forgive myself? And the cool thing is that when you actually get to that place where you start being at least, you know, and again, baby steps, transitional language kind of approach. First of all, you have to be willing to forgive yourself. Not asking you to instantly just forgive yourself, wave a magic wand and you're all done. Are you willing to forgive yourself? and just turning that corner, like it gets you out of being stuck in that old pattern, keeping the momentum rolling on that and just going, all right, let's look for a new way. Let's look for a new path. And because, this universe is all about love and connection, and that's such a powerful force, it will then find its way to you and it will grab a hold of you and it will lead the way and help you figure out, well, where do I go to next? Like, what's the process of forgiving myself? Because there isn't like a 1, 2, 3 tick the boxes kind of process. But first you have to decide. And then one day you go, oh, I just did. Maybe you want to sit and journal, write yourself a message. Maybe you want to just sit and just reflect. Maybe you just want to sit and send yourself lots of love for no reason, just other than your heart and your cup needs filling again. Or maybe you want to do the Ho'oponopono, which we'll talk about next, because that's a really great tool for helping you really turn that corner and clear the path. So having gone through that exercise, I would love to have at least one person just share anything that came out of it. If you had any challenges, anything that popped up, like how did that go for you? Who's happy to share? Thanks, Sharon.
It was really interesting because this is about, and I realized it wasn't just my partner, but also all my previous partners too, about attracting drama, always in the drama. And yes, it's me as well. And I feel like what I've been doing is attracting partners that draw drama into their lives because it overshadows and deflects from the drama in my life. So while I'm dealing with theirs, I don't have to look at mine. And it's also that, and what I've realized is that I do this because there is a belief in me that other people are more important than me. So therefore, I'll attract people so that their drama is more important than mine. I'm not as important. And then yuck. So, and it's also because I can become the carer and like the hero carer, and it's at my expense because then I don't resolve the stuff that's in my own life because I'm too busy resolving stuff in other people's lives. Yes, it's time to change that one.
Well, isn't that fantastic? Because you could have just stayed stuck in judging them for all the bloody drama. And, it's a dynamic that is keeping you safe because it's uncomfortable to look at, okay, well, what's actually lying underneath, which in your case, you figured out it's this other people are more important than me. I don't like drama, but if they create more drama, I don't even have to deal with the fact that I've got drama in my life because their drama's overshadowing it, and I get to live out my little pattern here. So, you can see all the ways that serves you and how it's, it's great to sit there in indignation and just go, oh, look at you. You're such a shit show, but it doesn't actually help us heal and grow and move forward. So it's massive. It's really massive. And now you're like, okay, now I know what I actually really need to work on rather than just staying stuck in this really unhealthy dynamic. That's just, it's a stuckness, right? It doesn't get you anywhere, but it's also very tiring. And, it's very tiring. And the thing is, it is different places, different faces, but same pattern. The patterns will keep repeating.
It's that caricature of the martyred savior. It's like, I'll save everybody else. And as we used to say to my mum, get off the cross, we need the wood.
Yeah. Thanks, Mum. Oh, God, that's a good one. And so, it's also interesting to notice, like, is this a recurring pattern? Is this just this one thing with one person? Because more than likely it shows up in lots of different ways. And like I've recognized this past week that one of the things I like to judge other people for is being unwilling to admit when they're wrong, which of course is never something that I have an issue with ever. I'm the first person to go, no, I completely screwed that up. Yeah. So that was like a big one. I'm like, so it's you and it's your relative, and I went, oh, so it brings you back to. I don't have the slide up, but it's in the tutorial in the module. Dr. Haleakala Hugh Len, he's the guy that brought back the Ho'oponopono, because it's this ancient Hawaiian prayer that the Hawaiians actually used in quite a different way, but he kind of brought it back and applied it in therapy with the criminally insane, and had some really amazing results. And he now kind of teaches it. And he says, have you ever noticed that whenever there's a problem, you are there? And you go, where am I meant to be? Right? But we're the ones experiencing the problem. So the problem is actually ours. Right now, it's ours to deal with. And the collective unconscious is all one, and we're part of that. We're interconnected with everything. And so it's like, okay, but why am I the one who's meant to deal with this stuff by cleaning up my little patch? And the reason is, if you're, and you know, and then that'll sort out the other people as well by ripple effect. And it's like, well, if you're walking around your neighborhood, or you're walking on the beach and you come across rubbish, like, do you want to pick it up and have a cleaner beach for everybody? Like, you're the one who's become aware of it. So why not be the one that picks it up and cleans it up? Why go, well, I'm not the one that threw it down, so I'm not going to touch it? Because you're still going to walk on a dirty beach if you do that. So if you like walking on a dirty beach, great. Or you can decide, well, it's my mess too, because it's my beach too. And I'm the one who's aware of it. I'm going to just pick that up. And, you know, it's actually in terms of collective unconscious, it's your rubbish too, because we all put it there together. Otherwise, we wouldn't be aware of it. We wouldn't be seeing it. So speaking about the Ho'oponopono, so he talks a lot about, you know, that when we're stuck in this shadow place where we're projecting and we're externalizing everything, we're not taking responsibility, we're behaving from memory. We're basing how we're approaching the situation or life based on old data, based on information, based on something we observed and the lens through which we experienced it at the time. And so it keeps us stuck, right? And so we want to clear that, not just because, hey, I've come across it and it's really uncomfortable, but it keeps us stuck, and it keeps us from going back to what he refers to as zero state, where you're just open. You're open to inspiration. You're open to source energy. You're open to, you know, thinking and experiencing life and accessing higher consciousness, because there's no crap in the way. There's no crap it's being filtered through that then blocks you from it. So we want to clear it because we want to have a really beautiful life experience. We want to access truth and love, which is the realities of life. And everything else is just a story. Everything else is just a story that we're telling ourselves. And yes, that thing actually did happen, but what you make it mean and how you perceive it and the story you're carrying forward, that's just your story that you made up about it. So you can make up a totally different story. And you know people who do, right? Usually the person that's been pissing you off, they've got a different story about it all. So, you know, Martin and I had a disagreement this week, and I'm going, I don't want to be in the car with you anymore if I'm going to be subjected to your road rage. So that was my story. I said, I don't want to be in that energy. It's really unpleasant. It's really uncomfortable. I want a peaceful life. His story was, yeah, but that person, they're sitting at the roundabout and it's clear. It's clear for miles. Why won't they go? I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the essence of the discussion that I'm wanting to have with you. He couldn't go there. Like, he was in a totally different space, and he wouldn't say sorry afterwards either. So that was my shadow work to take away, because then I was just really pissed off that he didn't say sorry. So it comes back to taking responsibility, to choosing to step into a space of responsibility rather than blame. And when we do that, we step back into our power, right? So in the module, in module 12, bonus module 2, whatever you want to call it, I challenge you to actually do a 21-day Ho'oponopono challenge. The cool thing with this is you kind of don't even fully have to understand how it works. It still tends to work. You just have to have like a rough idea. So I want to just quickly talk about this because people misunderstand what it is. You know, everything we've talked about, it's not about saying, oh, it's my problem, not yours. You're not saying sorry. If you're reciting the Ho'oponopono and you're wanting to apply it to a specific situation with another person, you're not saying sorry to them. You're saying sorry to yourself, to source, to your higher self for letting misconception or skewed ways of thinking about the nature of the universe get in the way of you experiencing your unlimited potential, how awesome you actually are. So you're saying, I'm sorry, like, oops, like I've woken up. Oops, I'm sorry. I fell into a dream state where I was like hallucinating that the world is this place where, you know, my opportunities are limited and other people can hold me back and their behavior can even have an effect on me. Like, I'm sorry that I forgot my power. I'm sorry that I forgot who I truly am and the nature of the universe. So that's what the I'm sorry is actually all about. You're not apologizing to your ex-partner. There's no need to apologize for anyone else because they're actually just showing up to give you opportunities for growth. They're on their own little growth journey. It's all good, right? But you're sorry for letting yourself get caught up in it because it's actually harmed you. And then please forgive me. Again, you're not asking anyone else for forgiveness. You're not asking for forgiveness because you've done something wrong. It's like a really bad choice of words, but this is the Ho'oponopono they came up with. Please forgive me just actually means please help me see the truth again. Please help me restore, you know, my sight and help me see how perfect and beautiful I am, and everybody is at their core. And yes, we're humans and we fall into patterns and we do stuff to protect ourselves and we fall into these things. But at our core, we're all just these beautiful, pure souls. So please forgive me means please restore my knowledge and my understanding of that. And then thank you is like, thanks in advance. I know that all I have to do is go, oh, I choose to wake up and that's it. There's nothing else to do. There's no redemption process. There's no penance you have to pay. There's nothing you have to do. It's just thank you. Thank you. Because I know that it was just up to me. Like I can choose to stay stuck in a negative pattern that doesn't serve me, or I can choose to forgive myself, let them stop being the person that keeps having to show up to show me I've got a wound and release them to do their own thing. And yeah, they'll still do whatever they want to do, but you don't have the wound that gets triggered anymore. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All I have to do is remember, set the intention, and it's done. And I love you is just going back to all is love, all is one. So that's what's actually behind the Ho'oponopono, right? That's the intention of it. You're not asking to be forgiven because you've done something wrong. You're certainly not asking some dickhead who's been bothering you to forgive you. You're not. It's all about you and source energy. That's all this is about. And the other people are just showing up to show you where there's an opportunity for growth. Sharon says the Dalai Lama says the act of forgiveness cancels any negative karma created between yourself and the other person's situation. Yeah, because if you think about it, you know, when you spend your time being upset about somebody else with somebody else, they don't even know that you're sitting there stewing in anger and resentment. So the only person you're actually punishing is yourself. That's a bit silly, isn't it, that we do that? They don't know. They're having a wonderful time probably out there, but you're sitting at home, you're having those imaginary conversations and arguments where you're absolutely right and they should have apologized because it's the right thing to do. So having said all of that, just a quick note on partners. Actually, every time I talk to the group about partners, I think of Gisela, because Gisela was the one who was like, but I'm doing good, but please, what do I do about him? So Gisela, I'm going to let you tell everybody what to do about partners, because you've been on this journey.
Oh, the old partner thing. Yes. A lot of it has to do with just letting go and just doing your thing and just keep doing it. And I think eventually it sort of starts to shift. I think the more you like from when we started at the beginning of doing Magnetic Money, where it was like, I'm going to kill him, to now it's like, that's just how he is. And I'll just take responsibility for what I can and let him do his thing. And like eventually he's coming around to accepting the changes and everything else. So it's just, you just got to stick to what you're doing.
Yeah. You do you. And then magic happens, right? You shift, you grow, you transform. Anna's another person that I often think of when it comes to the partners, because she's like, I'm great, but Dave's, wow, what do I do about Dave? So if you're, and it always happens I always say it happens about 2 weeks into joining Magnetic Money, where it's like, this is great. I can really, already feel shifts within me and I'm thinking about things differently. But God, I'm really noticing how much that person's so, like it feels like someone's holding you back or someone's just constantly raining on your parade or hitting the reset button. But the more, if you try to save them, you just end up back in an old pattern. So you just need to do you. Isha and I have been having some wonderful conversations about this as well, haven't we? Where I got a bit pointy booted last time, and I don't want to hear any more about it. I don't want to hear any more about them and what they do. I want to know about what you're going to do. Cool. So let's finish off with the time we've got left. I'm going to just break you up into groups, because what I'd love you to do is just out loud tell your little breakout group what you decide. And if you have to go, Jack, no worries. And if you're watching the recording, do this as well. I would like you to just take a moment to set an intention. What is it you want to focus on over the break in terms of your growth, whether that's I just need to give myself a total break and just rest, or whether it's actually I want to spend some time reflecting, maybe journaling on this, or practicing the Ho'oponopono, do the 21-day Ho'oponopono challenge. Like pick one thing you want to do over the sort of end of your break. And, if it feels appropriate, what's next year going to be all about for you? So let's just give you an opportunity to actually say that out loud. So take a moment to think about it while I create some breakout rooms, and I make them small groups so that you can.
Miriam, can you put me in a group where I can't lead because I'm driving?
Yep, I'll put you
Thank
in
you so much.
together with Jackie. I'll just check I've got. Yep, all good. All right, I've opened the rooms, so you can pop in there when you're ready. We'll make it about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back, say goodbye, and I will send you off to the end of your break. The back. All right. Let me know who didn't get a chance to share, if anyone, on what they're going to focus on over the break and what next year's all about. Did you all get a chance? Yes. Awesome. Okay. Who would like to say it out loud and share it with everybody? Who's excited? Sharon and Carol. I saw you, Carol. Are there any other hands?
I'll share too, but I can't raise my hand.
Yeah,
Okay,
do you want
thanks, Jen.
thank you for driving? Jen, do you want to
That's
go
all-
first? Driving?
That's all right, Sharon. You're unmuted, so just keep talking.
All right. Just quickly for Isha, have a look on YouTube, Debbie Ford shadow work, and it'll come up if you just do that search. Okay. Yesterday because I jump in early, and I said December is the month of jumping in with 2 feet and not waiting to find out details of things. Miriam's laughing, is that what I'm doing is I've set my alarm on my phone so that at 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock, it comes up with a reminder to do the Ho'oponopono. So I'll be doing that 3 times a day until we actually start at the end of January, and I might even keep going. I have ordered the Debbie Ford Shadow book so that I can work through it, but it's got to come from England because you can't buy it in Australia. And you can get it for look, Australian $20 to $25 free postage on eBay coming from England. So that's okay. And while I'm waiting for that, which is probably why I'm doing so much people pleasing, I'm doing this book here by Les Carter, When Pleasing You is Killing Me, and it's a workbook, and I'm working through that at the moment because that deals with anger and a whole lot of shadow work stuff. And yeah, at the moment it's hitting me in the face, all the people pleasing me and all that sort of stuff. So that's my holiday fun.
That's a lot of holiday fun. So the book is called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, correct? Awesome.
I can't remember. I'll have a look.
Yeah, well, that's what Jack put in the chat box before. So if anybody else wants to look it up. All right, beautiful. Jennifer, what's the break and going to next year all about for you?
Okay, so my single word for next year is masterful.
Is what,
it came
sorry?
up about a month ago, and I was like, yes, masterful. Being masterful, yes. So I am focused on that. And then in terms of 2025, I'm sort of the break is simplifying, getting really clear on just a couple of services and getting clear on what I'm leaving behind in 2024 and getting the systems in place so that I can work less and earn more.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. And yes, deciding what to leave behind is a big, juicy thing. All right. And last but not least, I'd like to hear from Carol and the rest of you. If you want to pop it in the chat box, that'd be awesome. Carol, what's yours?
Yeah, mine is around actually doing work, being ready for next year, but integrating it with rest and some family time. So I feel it's like an exciting time. Like I'm really ready to take on 2025. I'm very excited, but recognizing I've got to chill at the same time. I'm listening, Miriam. I'm chilling.
Listening, chilling while working. All right. Finding the balance. Good stuff.
Yes, it is about balance. Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. So yes, make sure you take a moment to just think, okay, what do I want my intention to be? Because just setting the intention itself is really powerful. Your unconscious is always listening. And, you know, if your intention is, I want to get clarity on this, I want to figure out ways to streamline things in my business, which of course is what we'll be working on together when we start after the summer break. But if you want to start, you know, pre-baking, that's a really good idea. And then, you know, we'll go through the structure together as well, because I promise you, all of you need to cull, not add. What else was I going to say? Once again, big thank you to every single person who jumped on a live call during this live round. I couldn't do it without you. Literally, I couldn't do it without you. Thank you to all of you for being part of this beautiful community. Quick reminder if you don't yet have access to the Aligned Business Accelerator, you need to jump on the upgrade, which means that you really want to do it before Sunday morning Australian time, because it's 33% off, but you get the extra 60% of that. But the 33% is only till Sunday morning. I hope that makes sense. I decided that, like before, I gave you the accelerator because it made more sense for you to just understand this is the thing we're starting the year with. But now I'm just sending you straight to the link for the Freedom and Ease Academy, so you can kind of see the whole thing as a full picture. Discount's the same, ends up being the same, you know, 6 one, half dozen the other. But I'm sending you straight to that page now as an upgrade. But if you already purchased the accelerator before, then you've automatically been upgraded and you're all good. So make sure you jump on that while it's still discounted. And I can't wait to see you after the break. We'll be getting started on the 31st of January. Calls will be at the same time of week, same time of day. And I have the electronic calendar set up so, and that came out with the emails you all got. Well, so once you've upgraded, you'll get the link to the calendar. And so just make sure you install that into your Outlook, Gmail, whatever you use, so that it automatically translates to your time zone in case of any time zone changes and you never miss a thing. Thank you once again. Have a beautiful, beautiful break. And I'm so excited to see you all next year. Bye for now, everyone.